Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. A very good morning to everyone. Welcome back to Perlis online tuition. Well, today we are going to discuss on tips on how to answer literature question, especially for the novels. I'm going to concentrate on the novel because it carries the highest mark, the biggest mark for the literature component, which is 15 marks, sorry. Okay, I'll be conducting it this session in English and Bahasa, if possible, whereby possible, to make you understand better for the session. Okay, and we are going to look at Dear Mr. Kilmer, because here in Perlis we are using that novel. I'm sorry for the other state, those students from other state who are using the different novel, but here for this session we are going to use Dear Mr. Kilmer. Okay, we are going to start with our session today by for you guys to fill in the pautan penyertaan. This is to take the attendance for the session, and we are going to use this data for the future program, inshallah. So, fill in the pautan penyertaan. It's on the screen to make sure that you attend. And this is very important for us. Okay, thank you. Pautan penyertaan. We are going to go straight away to Dear Mr. Kilmer. I'm going to read through the synopsis and add in where possible other information. Okay, I would like to remind you that this is from my point of view. Maybe I had different point of view from compared to your teacher. Ini tidak bermakna cikgu kamu salah dan tidak bermakna saya salah. Kami mempunyai pandangan yang berbeza because of our differentiations of people. Female, male have different point of view, background of education, background of family, background of races, and religious. People will come up with different idea and different point of view. So you can compare with your teacher and with my point of view. Okay, the story is about Richard Knight. Okay, from the name Richard Knight, is a very irony name. Richard is a name of a very famous warrior. Knight also meaning warrior, but if we read through the story, the novel, Richard is a very kind-hearted person, but his name reflects that he's a very, very brave person. Okay, a farm boy who's passionate about writing poems. Okay, he likes to read poems. He likes to write poems. He cannot relate well with his brother as usual. I know back home you cannot, most of you cannot get along with your brother and your sister. Okay? Who appears very interested in hunting animals and sport. So Richard don't like hunting animals, he hate it, and he don't like sport, he don't play sport. Okay. He finds himself unable to kill animals as he finds them beautiful. In one of the incident, he purposely misfire a buck where he's supposed to kill for their food. So it was a clear shot, about 50 meters, but he purposely missed the buck because he disliked killing animals. His father understands his pain, but tell him that death is part of life. In school, Richard get a chance to listen to a poem by Joyce Kilmer. And I would like to remind you that Joyce Kilmer is actually a real person, a real poet. He wrote poetry, and his poetry was famous, and it was published. It was written in a book, and the tree is real poems written by Joyce Kilmer. Joyce Kilmer enrolled into the army and went to war, and he was killed in France. This is real. Ini betul. Joyce Kilmer adalah watak yang betul. Memang orang yang sebenarnya. Dia ada. Contohnya, macam kalau dalam cerita ni, Richard Knight tulis surat kepada Joyce Kilmer. Ataupun ada orang tulis satu novel lain, Ahmad bin Abu tulis surat kepada P. Ramlee. Contoh macam tu. P. Ramlee tu wujud, but Ahmad bin Abu tak tentu lagi wujud ke tidak. Okay. And is impressed by the thoughts expressed in it. When he listened to the poem, he was very interested. With the support of his teacher. Okay, in this story, in the beginning, his teacher is his biggest supporter. Mrs. Hansen is a great teacher to him. With the support of his teacher, he begins a correspondence with Kilmer, and also mentioned that he writes poem. So, Richard Knight wrote a letter to Mr. Kilmer and mentioned to Mr. Kilmer that he writes poem. This started a beautiful relationship between Kilmer and Richard. When he wrote to Kilmer, and Kilmer replied his letter, then this is very good for him because he feels appreciated by a very famous person. Okay. Next, Kilmer joined the army to fight the enemy. Richard worries about the war as it affects the way people treat foreigners in his own town. Student Hannah Shermer is shunned by the classmate because of her German background. Richard stands up to support her and is ostracized too. Richard and Hannah become good friends. When Richard makes friends with Hannah, people dislike him too, because it's like that Richard is supporting Germany, because at this moment, at this time of the story, United States is having a war with German. So whoever support German is their enemy, is the American enemy. Some of the town people also rally around when they realize that Hannah family is patriotic to the country they live in, because in the story we also know that Otto is Hannah's brother. He joined the American army and went to war against Germany. So he might be fighting or kill his own relative, maybe his cousin, maybe a far relative from German. So this is very patriotic of Otto and the Shermers, because they go against their motherland. Okay. So But not many people know about Otto. Okay? Kilmer was killed in the war. It is most heartbreaking for Richard, who's shattered by the news. He writes a beautiful poem about the pain of losing a friend, and it appears in the local paper. It was he wrote the poem and sent it to the Turtle Lake newspaper, and it was printed. It was it appeared, and people can read it. This is a recognition of Richard's poem. Richard is most pleasantly surprised and comforted when his father tells him that the poem expressed well the pain he felt when he lost his brother in the war before. Mr. Knight had a brother, his name is Roland, and Roland was killed in action in a war before this war. So it was very painful for his father too. So he told Richard that he understands the pain because he lost his brother. There is a mutual understanding as father and son talk over things that had not been mentioned before. His father is a very quiet person. Bapa dia seorang yang sangat pendiam, tidak suka bercerita, tidak suka bercakap, tidak banyak bercakap. And dia kadang-kadang tak respon kepada Richard. The same thing goes to the sister. They are not very talkative person. So it's not like Gus, his brother, but Gus keep complaining. Nothing supportive to him. Okay. The war too comes to an end, and Richard hoped that anti-German sentiment will also fade. He hopes that it will happen like that. All right. So that is a bit of synopsis of the story. It's very, very simple, straightforward. There's not much of flashback and non-flash forward, so it's quite easy to understand. Okay, I hope, I repeat, I hope by now all of you have finished reading the text, because there's no shortcut in order to answer this question. And without reading the book, setengah pelajar hanya mengharapkan kepada sinopsis saja untuk faham, dan ini adalah satu benda yang sukar, sangat sukar. Kamu perlu baca, dan you get into it, kamu mendalaminya. Bila kamu baca dialog-dialog yang ada di dalam ni, dia akan mengukuhkan kefahaman kamu terhadap novel. Kalau tak baca, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Okay. Important events. Dalam soalan, banyak dia keluar tentang event. Last year, 2019, dah keluar tentang karakter. Tapi saya rasa it is most impossible for the character to come up again. It might goes to other sort of question, maybe event, maybe about moral values, about lesson that you learn from the novel. But today we are going to look at the important event. I've listed out 5 important events. You can also search in the internet about it, but these are what I think is important, and you should remember this event in order to answer your question, inshallah. Okay. The first one, Richard purposely missed shooting a buck. A buck is a deer. For those who don't know that, a buck is also a name for deer. Okay. Purposely miss. They went hunting, the three of them, Richard, Gus, and Pa. And Richard and Pa and Gus thought that it is time for Richard to kill a buck for their food. And maybe before this, Richard is only following them. The shooting is done by Pa or Gus. But this time they are giving the privilege to Richard to kill the buck. And it was a very clear shot. The buck is drinking water, and they were about 50 meters away from the buck. So it's a clear shot. You cannot miss it. But he purposely missed it because he disliked killing animals. He's a nature lover. He loves animals. He loves the flora and the fauna. That is what people who like to read poems used to like. So Richard purposely missed shooting a buck. So this reflects his character. A very soft-hearted person, even though the name is like a warrior, Richard Knight. Okay. Richard wrote his first letter to Mr. Kilmer. This is also a turning point in this poem. In this novel. If Richard did not write the letter to Mr. Kilmer, so he might not be exposing himself as a writer, a poem writer. And when he wrote his letter, and then when Mr. Kilmer replied the letter to him, so that give him moral support to continue writing poems, and then reading the poems to his friend and exposing himself. Before this, he write poems and he keep it for himself. He keep it in his room. He keep it in the drawer somewhere, and nobody knows about it. But after Mr. Kilmer give him some advice to reveal, to expose himself as a poetry writer, Richard was motivated. Okay. Number 3, Richard signed the sympathy card for the Shermers. Okay, the Shermers, they open up a restaurant, an eating house, and then because of the sentiment, people vandalize the eating place owned by the Shermers. And when the school, especially Mrs. Hanson, know about this incident, she thought that they could write a sympathy card and ask all the students in the classroom to sign the card and then send the sympathy card to the Shermers. But nobody dares, nobody wants to sign the sympathy card because they have their reasons. The girls, they don't want to sign it because they thought that they might lose their friends. And then the boys, they hate the German very much. That's why they don't sign it. They don't intend to sign the sympathy card. But only Richard is the only one who's willing to sign and then willing to take the card and send the card personally to the Shermers. Okay, that is what he did. And when Richard went to the house, when he gave the sympathy card Hannah actually was very reluctant and giving a negative response to him. He was a bit disappointed when Hannah acted like that. So this signing the sympathy card shows that Richard has a very strong stand. Dia mempunyai pendirian yang sangat teguh. Walau orang lain tak nak sign, dia sanggup sign. Walaupun dia seorang saja. Dan dia sanggup hantar kad tu kepada the Shomers. But he's a bit disappointed with Hannah's response. Okay. Richard told Mr. Sanson and his family that he wrote poems. Okay, the four of them. Her sister, Gus, the brother, Pa, and Mr. Sanson. The three of them, his family members, they were negative. They were negative. His sister, she did not want to read it. Gus even told Richard not to tell anyone. Gus ni dia bagi tahu, Richard, you jangan bagi tahu dekat orang lain yang kamu tulis puisi. Sebab orang yang tulis puisi ni, those who write poems are sisi. Dia gunakan perkataan sisi. Sisi ni orang lembut, orang yang lemah. Lelaki yang lemah, tak kuat, tak strong. Saya tak mau guna perkataan-perkataan yang ni, lemah, yang ada sifat-sifat perempuan sikit saja yang menulis puisi. So those guys are called sisi. And Pa dia tak percaya kata Richard boleh menulis puisi dengan baik dan sebagainya. And the three of them, his family members, did not support him. Okay. But Mrs. Hanson, his teacher is very supportive. She encouraged him to write the poems and even read the poems in front of the class. So Mrs. Hanson motivated Richard to keep on writing, to not to be shy of being a poet, being a poem writer. So these are some of the important events. Okay, sorry, we have number 5. Richard wrote a poem as a tribute to Mr. Kilmer. After getting the news that Mr. Kilmer is killed in action, and Richard wrote a poem as a tribute to Mr. Kilmer and was published by the local newspaper. When your poem is published, then the recognition is there. Apabila sebuah puisi itu dipublish, disiarkan di dalam akhbar, ianya merupakan satu pengiktirafan yang sangat besar. During my days, zaman saya dulu, kalau ada kawan-kawan yang boleh tulis puisi dan dihantar ke surat khabar arus perdana, contohnya pada masa itu surat khabar New Straits Times, Berita Harian, Utusan Malaysia, Utusan Melayu dan sebagainya, kalau puisi kamu keluar di sana, keluar di dalam surat khabar tu, especially on weekend, hari Minggu, puisi kamu keluar, dia menjadi satu kebanggaan kepada penulis tersebut dan dia merupakan juga pengiktirafan yang sangat tinggi. Sebab bila dia publish dalam surat khabar, semua orang boleh tengok. Nowadays, you publish your poem, kamu tulis puisi bubuh dalam arus dalam media sosial, bukan semua orang boleh tengok. Hanya kawan-kawan kamu saja boleh tengok dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau bila kamu tulis dia keluar dalam surat khabar, publish, diterbitkan, disiarkan dalam surat khabar, dia mempunyai pembaca yang lebih luas pada masa itu. Sekarang orang tak baca surat khabar. It's a pity for them. And now it's newspaper online. Okay. Richard wrote a poem as a tribute sebagai satu penghargaan pada Mr. Kilmer, a person who motivate him to be a writer. Okay. In order to answer the question, you have to understand these following terms. Okay. Event, incident. Event, perkara yang berlaku. Peristiwa, kejadian yang berlaku dalam sebuah cerita. Insiden bukan accident. Sorry. Ni ingatkan accident pula. Tak ada accident yang berlaku dalam novel ni. Okay. Peristiwa atau kejadian yang berlaku dalam sesebuah cerita. That is what we call event. This has something to do with how to answer the question afterwards. Cause, penyebab. Mengapa peristiwa itu berlaku? Why? Why the event? Why the incident happen? Kenapa dia berlaku? Because of what? Alright. Effect, kesan dia. Kesan. Apakah kesan-kesan kepada watak-watak yang terlibat apabila sesuatu peristiwa berlaku? When an incident happen, apa kesan dia? What effect? Okay. Bila berlaku macam ni, apa kesan dia kepada bila seorang bapa meninggal dunia, apa kesan dia kepada anak-anak? Anak-anak terpaksa bekerja, terpaksa cari makan dan sebagainya. Ini adalah kesan pada peristiwa kematian tadi. Alright. Karakter, ini semua orang tahu. Karakter adalah watak dalam cerita. Watak dalam cerita ni yang utama sekali adalah Richard lah. Dan I am suggesting that you concentrate on one character. Bad ke, good ke, you concentrate on Richard for this novel. Last year's question, I think past year's question, if I'm not mistaken, describe a character that you dislike, something like that. You dislike. Okay, Richard can also be a character that you dislike. I dislike him because he's too soft. I want him to be a very strong boy, brave, just like his name. Okay? Characteristic, qualities and personality, perwatakan, sifat dan kualiti watak. This one is for you to answer about the character. But like I say earlier, most probably character won't come out. Most probably. It is not impossible. The possibility is there, but most probably it won't come up. Okay. Next. Okay, this is answering template. Credit to Miss Nur Zahira Osman. I've taken this template from her. She's from the same school, from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Datuk Syed Ahmad. Okay. Paragraph 1. This is how your answer should look like. Okay. This is important. I want you, if possible, to go through this video after this, when the recorded one appear in YouTube, to look at this template and familiarize yourself with the template. This is the template that can help you to write your answer. It's like this template is like a format, but it is not official format, but it can help you to answer the question. Okay. The novel I learned is, so you mentioned the title of the novel. This is how you start. By the name of the writer. Don't worry, the name of the writer is at the top of the question. The name of the novel and the name of the writer, if you can't remember the spelling, is at the top of the question. Don't worry about it. Okay. The novel is about Okay, write a short synopsis in about 1 to 3 sentences, not too long. It's like the one that the story, like the one that I showed in earlier, a story about novel, a farm boy who likes to write poems and etc. So 1 to 3 short sentences is enough. Short synopsis. Okay. Then repeat the question. Okay. You take the question and you repeat, and then you state the main idea. This is because of what? Okay. And then you go to paragraph 2. First of all, you start by stating your main idea, your first main idea. Why? This is because, state the reason, and this is shown in the story. This is what giving evidence related to the novel. Kamu kena bagi jawapan yang ada kaitan secara langsung daripada novel yang kamu baca. So kamu kena berikan bukti dia. Dan this is shown in the story when you provide evidence, 1 atau 2 atau lebih, 1 evidence atau evidence, saya berbuh di sana, with keyword from the novel. Kena ada kata kunci daripada novel tu. Okay. Write more than 2 sentences. Kena tulis 2 atau lebih ayat. Jangan bagi terlampau pendek sangat evidence daripada novel ni. Dari peristiwa-peristiwa yang berlaku tu, event tu, kamu jadikan dia sebagai evidence. As we can see clearly now, list the cause and effect. Tadi kita dah tengok cause and effect. Okay, sorry. Cause and effect. Why the incident happened? Mengapa satu peristiwa berlaku dan apa kesan dia? Okey, nampak. Tadi saya ini 3 ayat yang pertama ni boleh dijadikan sebagai jawapan kamu. The story is about Richard Knight, a farm boy who is passionate about writing poems. He cannot relate well with his brother, who appears very interested in hunting animals and sport, but Richard disliked them. His father understand his pain, but tell him that death is part of life. Ini tak payah. Ambil sampai dekat, he find himself unable to kill animal as he find them beautiful. Cukup. Itu sedikit saja sebagai short synopsis for your answer. Right. Saya ulang balik. First of all, you state the main idea. This is because, state the reason. This is shown in the story, bagi evidence with keyword from the novel, more than 2 sentences. And we can clearly now list the cause and effect. Kesan dan juga sebab dan juga kesan kepada peristiwa yang berlaku. Okay. Moreover, kamu tengok kita guna link word. First of all, lepas tu kita ada moreover. We state the second main idea. Idea kita yang kedua kita masukkan di sini. This is because state the reason kenapa kamu kata macam tu. This is shown in the story when provide evidence sekali lagi with keyword from the novel. Write more than 2 sentences seperti yang awal tadi juga. It is clear now that you give link the cause and effect. Kesan, sebab dan kesan dia. Okay, contohnya saya katalah contoh when Richard signed the sympathy card, the effect is all the boys hate him. They had a fight because he is supporting the German. That is the effect. Okay. Just now is paragraph 3. Okay, we go to paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 ni optional, boleh tambah. Apart from that, again, I'm using the link phrase. State the third main idea. This is because what? State the reason. Shown in the story provides evidence with keyword from the novel. You got write more than 2 sentences. It is clear now that, again, cause and effect. Okay. Okay, the last paragraph, conclusion. This is where you should give your idea. You should give your idea, and whatever idea given here, it is not considered wrong. And please remember that this literature component is not stressed on the literature elements. It's stressed on the language proficiency. So it is important for you to write it in correct grammar sentences. That's all. Okay. In conclusion, restate the main ideas. What is our main ideas? The first one just now. And I hope, I think, and I wish. You can use either one. You can use either one. I hope I will be like Richard. I could express myself. I could write poems like him. I could act like him, where he stand on his what he believes. I wish. I think. I wish I could be like him. I wish at the end of the story, Richard could be a better person, a famous person. This is our conclusion. You can give your idea here, and as long as the idea is logic, as long as what you think is logic, it is acceptable, and make sure that your grammatical rules is perfect. Okay. I think that is the template. So if you have the time, you can go back. You can you can make notes when you go through again this video when they uploaded it in YouTube. You can stop the video and you make notes on this template. It is very helpful, very helpful. Okay. Other things that I would like to remind the student out there. Please, because you are writing this in paragraphs, make sure that your handwriting is big enough for the teacher to read, and then don't use the light blue pen. Use a black ink. Gunakan pen hitam. Jangan gunakan biru yang very fade, yang sangat muda tu sampai tak nampak. Sampai tak nampak. Make sure that your handwriting is readable. Boleh dibaca. Bukannya cantik, tak semestinya cantik, tapi boleh dibaca. Tulis bagi besar sikit. Kamu perlu ingat bahawa pemeriksa ni kebanyakannya dah berumur sikit, dia pakai spek, dia susah nak baca. So make sure that you write properly, boleh dibaca dengan mudah. Dan ingat, 15 markah ni banyak, boleh membantu kamu insyaAllah. I think that's all that we have for today. I hope that all the information given here will help you a bit in order to answer the question. Don't be stressful, just relax and try to do your best. And I would like to thank again Jabatan Pendidikan Perlis for giving me this opportunity, and I hope to see you again in the future with the next batch for the Perlis online tuition, inshallah. So have fun, good luck, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.